Welcome to Nerd on Nerd with me, Jack Kempster.
And me, Liam Underwood. And this is a very special episode today, Jack.
It is. It's the first episode in a month where we don't have a guest on.
Yeah. So we had some feedback from Mark, who said that he's been enjoying our splurge of guests recently.
Why is that?
I don't know. I think he just enjoys hearing other people talk that isn't us necessarily.
Oh, I see how it is.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that. We're on like episode 49, I want to say now.
Yeah, that's impressive, I think, because that means collectively we've spoken for like 4 days straight.
Yeah. In this episode, we're going to do some more speaking about blankets.
Yep.
Which
recommended to us by Amanda.
Yep, and it is... So the book cover describes it as an illustrated novel.
It's an autobiography, sort of
But like a graphic novel.
Someone?
Craig Thompson.
It's
also like a graphic novel.
Yeah.
Amanda recommended that to us, so we did that. But before we get to that, it's time for catching up with Jack and Liam, and no one else this time, just Jack and Liam.
Just Jack and Liam, back to the old days.
This is like my comfort zone.
Yeah.
This is what I'm used to.
Yeah.
How are you, Jack? What have you been
I'm
up
good,
to?
Liam. How are you?
Just honestly, just absolutely brilliant.
That sounds like you're lying.
No, things going to be better. I had a really action-packed week, and everything's great.
What did you do with your action-packed week?
Oh, worked a lot.
Yeah.
Went to cinema once, so that's coming up. On Saturday, so like when you work Monday to Friday, sort of in the grind, if you will, you look forward to the weekend, right?
Everybody's working for the weekend, Liam.
Yeah,
that's what I hear.
It's a precious time, isn't it?
Yeah.
So on Saturday, we were supposed to go to look at a new place to scope out a new area. Long-time listeners will know that we went to Woking and other places. Not even that long-time listeners, really, like 2 episodes ago.
2 weeks, yeah.
But yeah, we were going to go to a new place. The big motorway that kind of takes us up to where we're going was shut, just completely shut. Apparently it had been shut since 4 a.m. People had been stuck in traffic on that motorway for like 8 hours or something ridiculous.
Okay, so what did you do?
Well, my sat-nav was quite smart and diverted us away from the motorway.
Yeah.
It just meant what should have been like an hour journey became like a 3-hour journey through horrible, narrow country roads that are narrow for a car, but because the motorway was shut, we were also having to navigate around like vans and lorries.
See, now when I'm coming back from yours,
yeah,
like when I come down, my sat nav takes me on the A3.
Yeah, that's quite a nice little journey.
Yeah, the A3 is pretty decent. But then on the way back from yours, it doesn't take me that way. It takes me through a lot of those backcountry roads, and I fucking love it.
Really?
Yeah, because genuinely, like you're coming down on the A3, and that's you're on a motorway. You're going fast, but on the little country roads it takes me on, there's not many people. I can sort of chill out.
No, right. I don't know if this is the same sort of country road.
No, what country roads are you on? Like lanes going through a farmer's field?
Like, yeah, where there isn't even like markings on the road. There's little areas that the road juts out that are like stopping points, so like two cars can pass. Yeah. That when it's busy, for someone that doesn't like driving, it's just a nightmare. Especially for it to take an extra 2 hours. Yeah,
no, I mean that is not fun. If you're expecting an hour journey and you suddenly end up driving for 3.
So yeah, basically what happened is I was picking something up from my mum on the way. Got there, I mean I can't be bothered, and just came back.
That's sort of, and I don't want this to sound the wrong way, Liam, but that's kind of pathetic.
Well, it's because let me explain. I knew I was going to have a terrible journey coming back. And I just wanted to get out of the way. I didn't want to faff off elsewhere and just have that in the back of my mind constantly.
Yeah, but you're trying to move house.
I know, it's difficult.
You have to actually I feel like you've got to put in the effort, buddy. I know it's shit.
It's difficult, man. It's really difficult.
I totally get that.
We're struggling so bad.
I know.
So yeah.
So you're no closer to finding a place to move to then, I guess.
Not one bit.
Fair enough.
Try again next weekend. We'll see.
Yeah.
The thing is, like I said, I like my weekends. I don't really want to spend them sat in my car driving to areas that aren't that good.
You should go after work.
No, I can't. I won't be able to get there and back before it gets dark, and then I become a danger on the road.
Your girlfriend drives.
Good luck with that.
No, I don't need to get her to drive anywhere.
Yeah, she
I'm
won't.
I'm not moving house, Liam.
She won't. Then Sunday, so that was my Saturday. Sunday, Went out for a roast, picked up a lawnmower.
Is it a good lawnmower? What engine you got in that bad boy?
Dunno, it was the cheapest one I could get in Argos that wasn't like shit.
How many RPMs did you get on those blades?
I think 1,000.
Sweet.
So,
badass.
That's been my week, Jack.
I mean, it sounds, and you know I love you, buddy, but it does sound pretty boring, and I'm a little bit annoyed, really.
Why is that?
Because in the past you've told me to try and do more exciting stuff for catching up with, and I just feel like you haven't put in the effort this week.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I knew that you had a really exciting story, and I didn't want to... what's the word? I didn't want to distract from that. So
I don't think anything could distract from my story, Liam.
No, I very deliberately had quite a... The pressure was off to have an exciting weekend, because I was like, Jack's got the next episode covered.
See, here's the thing, Liam. I've got one exciting thing that happened in the last 2 weeks, but I've also got something that happened that I don't think I talked about on the podcast.
Are we thinking of the same thing or not?
There's two things. There's one thing that happened this weekend.
I don't know what that was.
Last weekend. Weekend before.
I still don't know.
Alright, I'll just get to what I did, Liam, because your shit was boring. Let's move on to Jack's fun times.
Yeah.
Are we thinking of the fact that I crashed my car?
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously. That's the main one.
Because you were too busy looking at the bloody sat-nav.
Not at all. I turned right at a crossroads, Liam. My brain blanked out the car coming the other way, and I crashed into his side.
But I remember you saying how easy driving was. And
it is, yeah. You can still make mistakes.
Well, I haven't so far, and I've been doing it for 10 years now.
Yeah, but you refuse to drive at night, and you drive like a little old man, so that's why.
Yeah, a little
I
old
drive
man
like a normal human being, and occasionally human beings make mistakes.
Well, I mean, they shouldn't.
Everyone crashes, Liam.
I don't.
No. Not that you don't, you just haven't yet.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to keep it that way.
Now, here's the thing, Liam. Do you really want to take this stance? Because if you take this stance now, and I get why you would, because I probably would be tempted to as well.
Yeah.
But you've got to remember that now, if you're taking this stance with me, if you ever crash your car, I'm going to rip you apart on this show. So
that is true.
Make a call now. Do you want to take that stance or not?
Nah, I don't want to tempt fate.
Exactly, that's what I'm thinking. It's exactly our luck that if you did this, you would crash. Like tomorrow, you'd go out. You'd be like, I'm just going to go to the shops and just immediately crash.
Yeah, but like a real bad one where I end up like dead or something.
And then I just have to do a solo show where I rip you apart in tears. I'm like, oh, Liam, you idiot.
Nah, you could get a guest on or something.
I get Cat on.
There we
and
go.
We'd celebrate.
Yeah, and it would be our most listened to episode.
I'm so sorry. That was a little bit too real and mean.
Yeah, no. It's like, you know, like art, how that rises in value once the artist dies.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, that would work. Like, we'd probably get a bunch of listens to that episode.
Yeah.
But then after that, people are like, well, why am I still coming back to Nerd On?
To listen to all the old episodes.
Yeah, all right, fair enough.
4 days, apparently.
But yeah, Liam, I crashed my car.
Yeah, no, that was really silly, Jack.
It was. And, you know, everyone was okay. That was the important thing. That's the only bit I care about, really. Like, the car itself is, my car's fine, his car's a bit dented up, and they're both getting, you know, it's all gone to the insurance, they're sorting it all out, so I don't really need to worry about it now. I just, at some point, you know, my insurance will bump up, which is fine. I don't mind, that's just money. Yeah. The only bit that I cared about was that I didn't, like, fucking hurt someone really badly, because I genuinely, when I got home, I said to my dad, I was like, that could have gone so much worse, and if it had, that would have been, that's all that's important to me, is that I didn't hurt someone, because that would be horrible.
It would, or that you hurt yourself, I guess.
Oh, no, but even then, like, hurting myself, if I'd come out of that hurt, and he was okay, I'd have been fine. Like, I'd have been, as in, like, I'd have been, like, good, I didn't hurt you. Do you know what I mean? Like, for me, hurting someone else is way worse than fucking myself up, really. Yeah,
but also just drive sensibly, really, in future.
I was. My brain just blanked him out. All it's going to do is teach me that at Crossroads I need to pay some more attention, apparently. Yeah.
Good lesson to learn, I guess.
Yep.
But yeah, I have never been in a road collision like that. Like the nearest that happened was once when I was driving to work. I was at a roundabout and I was trying to get out of someone's way, and I just very, very lightly bumped the car in front of me to the point where like you could. Yeah, you could walk with greater speed into the car. Yeah, like I was going at that sort of speed. But they noticed, they got out, they checked their car, there was no damage and it was fine. But that's even that was a bit of a like, oh shit sort of thing. Yeah,
I mean, the moment any sort of thing like that's going to be shit, because there's always that like, oh, what if I've done something and then I have to, you know, do the insurance stuff.
Yeah, so I have a couple of questions. One, what is the insurance, like, what are you meant to do? Because I wouldn't know. Like, if I was to get in an accident, I wouldn't know what to do. I didn't know either.
I had to ask the other guy. I was like, I'm really sorry, but what do we have to do now? Because I don't know.
And he was like a functioning adult that actually knew how life works.
Well, no, I mean, I don't think that's necessarily true, because you'd only know if you're in an accident, so maybe it means he's an unsafe driver. That's not true.
Possibly. You heard it here first.
You just get their details, like their address, their phone number, their name, and their license plate. You ring your insurance people and say, I'm making a claim. They just ask you for those details, then just go through what happened. And then they go, okay, cool. And they sort it out with a garage my people are coming to pick my car up.
So do you ring the insurance there, or do you get home and then ring the insurance?
I didn't have their details, so and my place closed at 4. Right. So it was like, it was already past them when I needed to call them, so I called them the next day.
Okay.
But yeah, you literally, so both of you just end up talking to your insurance people, and then the only communication I had with him was that night he texted me and said, oh, I've contacted my people, and I said, okay, my people closed before we'd even done this, so I'll ring them tomorrow. And that was the only communication I had with him. You give it to your insurance, they talk to his insurance, and it all gets sorted.
Fair enough. I don't even know who I'm insured with.
Yeah. Well, you should probably know that, because that's important. Like, I know who I'm with, so I was able to get the number and stuff and figure it out.
Yeah. I have no idea.
Well, maybe find that out.
Yeah.
Dear God, please be insured. Don't be admitting on our podcast that you're driving under.
No, I'm definitely insured. I just can't remember who it's with.
Okay, well, figure that out.
Yeah. But it's because I have like so many different insurances. Like, I've got car insurance, home insurance, business insurance, so I can't remember which is which sometimes.
Well, that'd be awkward if you're ringing your like home insurance and being like, I've had a car crash, and they're like, what? Good, okay.
I have more questions about the incident.
Okay, go
on. Did your life flash before your eyes?
No.
Okay.
I wasn't going particularly fast. Like, it was fast enough to dent his door.
Yeah.
And smash a bit of the front of my car, but like, it didn't. I don't think the frame on the cars has been fucked up or anything.
Okay.
So it wasn't like, it was literally I'd stopped. Or no, I was turning right, and I was going at, maybe 20.
Yeah.
So it's fairly fast, but not fast enough for my brain to be like, oh my God, we're dead.
Yeah. Were there witnesses?
Yeah, all the other cars and a homeless guy.
Did they say anything?
No.
Okay. I sometimes have anxiety dreams about crashing my car.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I've woken up before from like nightmares where I've like very vividly been involved in a car crash that was my fault.
That's quite a sort of mundane nightmare.
It's really horrifying.
I know, I can imagine it's not very nice, but I mean, like, my brain works on like a whole other level for that sort of shit.
But this is something that could actually happen.
Oh, well, I had a nightmare the other night, Liam, and it could have actually happened. And for a moment, I woke up very confused and was like, "Oh God, did I attempt to kidnap and murder someone?" And then I went, "No, I didn't. That's good."
Are you seeing someone?
What, like a psychiatrist?
Yeah.
No, I mean in the dream. So here's the thing, Liam.
Right.
I don't remember doing it in the dream. The dream worked. I was away on holiday. 2 days later, I woke up and I couldn't remember anything. And then someone was like, you attempted to kidnap and murder one of like my family friends. And I was like, oh God. And then I had to speak to him and I was like, I'm so sorry. I don't remember doing it. And he was kind of okay about the whole thing in the dream, but I felt bad. He was like, oh, you hit me with a thing. And I was like, well, I don't remember doing it. And he was like, yeah, it's fine.
What was the other exciting thing you've done?
I went to my cousin's wedding.
Oh, yeah, you love a wedding.
I don't think I mentioned it on the podcast.
No, I don't think you did.
It was a while ago.
Fair enough.
I think because we had guests since then and we were talking about stuff.
Oh, maybe.
It was good. I enjoy a wedding.
Yeah, did you cut a rug?
I don't know what that means.
Dance?
Who says that?
I know, it's a saying. People
like
say it.
From the 1910s.
Cut a rug is a saying.
I don't think it fucking is, mate.
I think if you Google it, you'll find out that it is a saying.
I bet if I Google it, I'll find some forum just full of 80-year-olds being like, oh, back in my day, I used to cut the rug.
I don't even want to know what that could possibly mean on a forum full of 80-year-olds.
Dance, Liam. It's because it's an old person thing to say.
Oh. Yeah, anyway. What's your favourite, song to dance to?
I'm trying to think. Did they play? They played some decent stuff at the wedding, so it was dancing to actual good music, which was interesting. And then they played a couple of the old shit that we used to dance to in Babylon.
Yeah, those 90s classics.
Yeah, for anyone that's not in the know, Babylon was a club in Portsmouth where me and Liam went to uni that played only 90s music.
Yeah, it was very nostalgic.
We went there a lot.
Too much.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, so they played Agadoo.
Yeah.
Did a bit of dancing to that. That's a good one to dance to.
Yeah.
Push the pineapple, shake the tree.
Yeah.
Push pineapple. I don't know. Probably that, Liam. What's your favourite thing to dance to?
Currently, it's that Bruno Mars song.
Which one? His
Uptown
new one, whatever
Funk.
his new one is.
Uptown Funk.
Right, not his new one then.
No. Uptown Funk.
Actually, to be fair, they played that at the wedding, and I did dance quite
it's a good
exuberantly to that. Yeah.
It's a fun song to bust a move to.
Very funky. Got those funky beats.
Yeah. I've been to 2 weddings.
Yeah.
They were both delightful, but I feel like I've had my fill of weddings now.
I mean, I don't get how you can be fed up of weddings.
I feel like I've done 2. They were good. I feel like I've got a kind of a handle on how weddings work now. So sort of
yeah, but that's such a weird way of thinking, because you're going to celebrate your friends who are getting married.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you've done 2 people's.
Yeah.
But if a third person gets married, you have to go. Like, if I ever get married, you have to come. There's not going to be like, because I know that you won't want to come to mine. So when you come up with some excuse that's like, oh, so yeah, me and Kat are actually, we can't that weekend. I'm not going to be like, oh, that's reasonable. I'm going to fucking hunt you down and drag you.
I'm busy that weekend.
I don't think you will be.
Yeah, no, I have a very active social life, Jack.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, you do. You play D&D with me. You record a podcast with me.
Okay, but what if we move to a new area and suddenly, boom, we're out every night. We're meeting new people.
This is going to sound meaner than I intend it to, Liam, but that's not going to happen.
No, it's not. The only people we'll meet are pizza delivery people.
the local Mexican /pub.
Yeah. Oh, we went there the other night.
Yeah,
was it last night? No, it wasn't last night. That's crazy. It was Saturday night. Yeah, it was good. Did
you have your usual?
Yeah, mojitos. Although I didn't have a burrito this time. I had fajita. This is so boring. This is like the worst catching up.
You are the one that started this conversation. I just mentioned it, and you started being like, "Oh, I went there."
Yeah, no, yeah, whatever. Moving on. So yeah, wedding.
Listeners, we need help. Liam is struggling to do exciting things, and it's affecting the show. I can hear it. He's all bored, and then he doesn't want to get involved because he's bored.
No, I'm asking you about the wedding. Listen.
You're bored of life.
Yeah, I know.
Listeners, give us exciting things for Liam to do.
Yeah. No, I want to hear more about this wedding, Jack.
Go on, what do you want to know, Liam?
What did the bride look like?
Did she look beautiful?
In her dress?
Yep.
Was it white?
Yes.
How many bridesmaids were there?
3.
Did they get drunk?
Yeah, I think so.
Were any of them single?
Not that I know of. No, I don't think so.
Okay. Was there any entertainment there?
The band that played at the reception.
Were they good?
Yep, they were decent. They played good music, and they were a decent band.
What was the food like?
It was good, I think. Was it good? Yeah, no, it was fucking weird. There was some starter it was some little pastry thing.
Yeah.
And it was full of this, it was fruity something or other. But it wasn't a dessert, it was a starter, and it was just the weirdest tasting thing. It was nice, but I still don't know what it was.
Fair enough. At Mark's wedding, which was really good, they had a magician that I really enjoyed. He did close-up magic and stuff. And also, I had wood pigeon for starter.
What's that like?
It was delicious.
Oh, fair enough.
It's so good.
See, it sounds like you love weddings, Liam.
I like I said, I've had 2 good wedding experiences, and I feel like if I go for 3, that's really pushing my luck. So probably better to go, well, I've had 2 good experiences, let's not be greedy.
Yeah, you're a moody piece of shit. Liam.
Yeah.
You've been to the cinema this week.
Yeah.
Here are the spoiler-free reviews of the things that you saw at the cinema.
Yeah, although I want to talk about a Netflix show first.
That's fine. It's all just things that you saw this week, I think.
Yeah. I finally managed to finish watching Friends from College.
Yeah, was that the one that you'd started, but you wish you'd started the OA instead?
Yeah.
When we were talking to Lee.
It was just it has 3 people in it who I really like. It has Keegan-Michael Key, Cobie Smulders, and Fred Savage, who I like. I like all 3 of those. This was just a real chore of a show. All of the characters were unlikable for various reasons.
Okay, that's not great.
Yeah, it wasn't I think It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. They try and kind of sell themselves on it being a bunch of unlikable characters or whatever.
Yeah.
But this was just there was nothing redeeming about the show necessarily. It wasn't very funny. It wasn't very dramatic. It wasn't very interesting. There was nothing to hook you.
are they? So with the whole unlikable thing, the reason that works in It's Always Sunny is that they're meant to be like that. Like the whole show is pinned on you're watching these terrible people live their terrible lives.
Yeah.
Is this show meant to be like, oh, I don't like these people, or are they trying to be likable but being unlikable?
I think they're trying to be likable but failing.
Yeah, okay.
I think.
Yeah, which then makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it was just real weird. I didn't really enjoy it. There was a couple of episodes that went like awful, but mostly it was pretty awful. A 2 out of 5, and that's being kind of generous.
Fair enough.
I went to cinema and I saw Kingsman: The Golden Circle.
Oh, cool! I think I'm seeing that this week.
Why?
Because what do you mean why?
Well,
because a bunch of my friends are going to see it, so I'm going to go with them.
Why didn't you go and see it?
Because I'm not going to go and see it. I'm not going to go and see it when my friends are seeing a different film that I want to go see. Because I may as well go to that one as well.
But why haven't you made them go to see it already? It's been out.
They don't want to go
weeks.
and see it, and Liam, I don't know if you heard, but I crashed my car, so I'm struggling to get to the fucking cinema. I can't just swan off to the cinema now. I have to actually like get a train and shit.
So yeah, you can still do that.
Yeah, I can, but it's a lot more work than it was before.
But you've only had a car for a short space of time.
What? I've had my car for like a year.
Yeah, and before that, you was going to the cinema just fine.
Yeah, with people. It was only when I got the car that I started going to the cinema by myself. That's true. That's 100% true.
I still just think it's bullshit that you haven't seen it.
I want to. It's not that I don't want to. I want to go see it.
How's The Defenders coming along?
I'm on episode 3.
Of?
A TV show on Amazon Instant Video called Badlands.
Right, that's nothing to do. So we're not doing a Defender special for anyone that was like listening.
No.
Forward to that.
Oh no, we definitely are.
No,
we are.
No, we're not.
No, we definitely are.
How?
We're going to.
I won't remember it by the time you get there.
Yeah, that's more hilarious to me. Carry on telling me about Friends with Benefits, or whatever it was called.
Kingsman: The Golden Circle.
Yeah, that's it. I forgot you'd already reviewed that one.
Yeah.
How was Kingsman?
It was. It was.
Okay, wait. I've got an idea. Okay, so what if I say what I am thinking it will be like?
Okay.
In a sort of like, this is what I'm going to try and see. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is what I'm aiming for. Okay.
Yeah.
So I want a semi-funny, like occasionally, little funny bits.
Yeah.
Action film that's just over the top action.
Yeah.
Little bit of gore thrown in.
Okay.
It's the old first one had a few gory scenes.
Yeah.
And then, story not incredible, but just a sort of good time.
That's pretty much it.
So I feel like I'm not going to be disappointed.
No, it's basically, it's not quite as good as the first one, but it's not massively worse either.
Okay.
There's some things that aren't great about it. There's actors. It looks like they've only managed to kind of get them for a day of filming. So.
Oh, okay. So not many scenes. Is that a lot of the American-y sort of?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That's because in the trailer they make them look quite central to it.
And also, so you know that there's a character coming back, right?
Yeah, because the trailers ruin it.
Yeah. It's how they bring him back as well is a bit just meh.
Oh, okay.
Also, the first one had a really standout scene.
Yes, the church scene.
Exactly. Yeah. If you talk to people about Kingsman, the first film, people who have seen it, if you say it has a standout scene, they'll immediately go what you just did and say, "Oh, the church scene." Like it's that good that just everyone knows of it pretty much.
Yeah, that is a really incredibly done scene.
This one, it feels like there was a couple of times when they were trying to rival it, but it just fell like way short of the mark, like not even close.
Okay, well that's sort of typical of a sequel, really.
Yeah. 3.5 out of 5. It's a fun time, but I'd rather you go and see something good like it. If you were going to spend the time, or Mother. I would love for you to see Mother.
I want to see Mother as well, but I don't know if I'm going to get there when it's in the cinema.
I imagine not.
I don't think I need to though. As in, like, not as in. I know not in a like. I don't think I need to. But as in, like, it's not. I feel like that film doesn't necessarily, from what I've heard from you and Lee, or you and Joey. Lee. I'm getting so confused. All these guests. But from what you guys were saying, I feel like that film would probably work on a TV.
Yeah. I don't think it needs the cinema experience.
Yes. I'll try and get to see it, but like, I don't get a lot of evenings free, so I'm gonna spend one of them seeing it and one of them seeing Kingsman.
Yeah, that's it.
That's not. You're not up to your usual standard. You have been busy, mate. What's going on?
Yeah, I've been really busy. So I had to. All right. Well, okay. I had to go to the Kingsman twice.
Why?
So the first time we went to see it in IMAX. Okay.
Okay.
And we were running a little bit late. Not massively late. Like
what sort of time? Give me a time frame here.
All right.
Because I'd say 30 minutes late to the announced time, you're probably okay.
Okay. Here we go then. Here we go, Jack.
Go for it. I'm ready, Liam.
We knew the film was starting at 5:20.
Yep.
We left the house at 5:15.
Ooh, which cinema do you go to?
The one that's literally like a 5-minute drive away.
Oh, okay. That's yep.
Yeah. So we were in the foyer. I was getting popcorn because I was like, we've got loads of time. Because we got to the cinema at like 5:25.
Yep. So I'd say you probably still had. 10
oh no,
minutes
sorry. We were stuck in. We did get stuck in a bit of traffic. There was traffic I was unexpected. So we were in the foyer by 5. So it starts at 5:20. We was in there by 5:30.
See, I don't think I'd have stopped to get popcorn.
I grabbed the popcorn because I thought, well, 30 minutes, right? If it starts at 5:20.
See, I think everyone overestimates that time. A lot of people say half an hour, but I always go 15 to 20.
Okay, so I would have thought, 20. I thought 20. Yeah, you might be pushing it. So by the time we got popcorn, it was 5:35. We got into the screening at 5:35, and the film had already started. So 15 minutes after the proposed time.
Yeah, that seems like quite a quick time for it to have started.
Yeah. So the next day, I went back because I feel like I don't like judging a film until I've seen all of it.
Did you stay and watch the rest of the film the first day?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you only missed a little bit. Good. I wasn't sure because the way you were saying it, I wasn't sure if you guys were just like, nope, I'm leaving.
No, yeah, we stayed. We watched the rest of it, but I didn't know how much we'd missed either.
Yeah. Was it like a minute?
I went back the next day, right?
Yeah.
I didn't do IMAX. You have to pay for IMAX.
Yeah.
I got there bang on time. Got my seat. Perfect. I timed how long it started, like between me sat down, when it's proposed to start, and when the actual film starts.
Yep.
30 minutes. 30 minutes. I'm not even joking. I timed it, and then it turned out I'd literally missed 30 seconds.
Oh, Liam.
So I waited 30 minutes where I had to sit through like 6 fucking film trailers.
Oh, Jesus.
And a load of adverts just for nonsense. It was ridiculous, honestly. Just for 30 seconds.
Okay, so here's what I think the difference, not the difference, what that could be, right?
Yeah.
Is I have a feeling, and I'm not positive, because I've not, gone and seen as many films as you, but I have a feeling that IMAX has a shorter showreel before it.
No shit.
I mean, yeah, well, now you know. But that's, the IMAX films I've seen, I think, tend to, because you've got less trailers that they show because they try and show IMAX trailers, and there's less of them.
Oh, it's just I still think 15 minutes is a bit of a joke. Because we go there a lot.
To be fair, they tell you it's starting at this time.
Yeah,
it's your assumption that they're going to have that time before. So I don't think it's on them, but I do agree that it's also, it would be very easy to do that and be like, I've got time.
When you go as much as we do as well, you do kind of get a bit of a second nature for how long you've got because you're so used to sat there waiting.
Yeah.
But we don't go to IMAX a lot, and that was the mistake.
Yeah. But now you know. There you go.
Exactly. Lesson learned.
And you only missed a little bit, so you know that you were actually still kind of all right.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, like the amount we missed was literally just someone walking through a door, and then I think we missed maybe 2 lines of dialogue after that.
That's quite funny.
It's ridiculous. I watched that first sequence, and then just got up and left.
Did you actually? Oh,
yeah.
I guess you're not paying for it.
No, I'm not paying for it, but I equally was like, I don't want to sit here and watch the whole film again. It wasn't. Was there
also a little bit of your brain that was going, I think this is quite funny that all these other people in here are going to look at me and be like, oh God, really?
Yeah.
Why did this make him walk out?
Yeah, like as if I'd been offended or something. Yeah, I can't take anymore.
No, I'm done. I'm done with this movie.
Yeah. So yeah, that was everything. Well, how's American Psycho going, Jack?
So bad news.
Okay.
I haven't finished it.
Well, this has taken you a while.
Yeah, I'm really struggling with it.
Okay. You just need to get on with it.
I know, but it's just... Honestly, it's like... I love reading, and even your other suggestions, like Fluke and stuff, like, as much as I didn't particularly enjoy that book, I didn't mind reading it. I'm really struggling with American Psycho.
What's making it a struggle?
I think it's the stuff I've said before. Like, I get what they're doing, but it's boring me.
How far have you got since we last spoke?
Like, probably like an extra chapter.
So I feel like you're just not really putting much of an effort into this.
No, but that's what I mean. To me, that's a bad sign. Like, that's like, say you stopped halfway through a movie for some reason, and you were like, oh, I'm going to watch that later.
Yeah.
And then you sort of, every time you went to sit down and watch it, you were like, oh, I could, but I could do something else, and I actually kind of want to do that other thing instead. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, but sometimes
like, I know I need to finish it, and I'm gonna make a very big effort to get it done for next episode, because I need to. But it is honestly a real struggle at the moment.
All right.
I don't know why. I don't know why this particular book is.
I mean, it's a literary classic according to quite a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, I can see why.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit like, you know how you I'm trying to think of a good example. I know you've got some that you've said on the podcast of like Nameless, when you were like, I hate that there's like this whole element where they're trying to sort of pretend to be smart.
Yeah.
And throw all this stuff out. I think it's a little bit like that, where the writing in this book is very much like, look how clever I am for making you feel this way.
Yeah.
And I got that like quite quickly. I was like, oh, that's what they're doing. So then the fact that he's dragged it out for, half a book, and I don't know, I think it's just making me be like, yeah, all right, I get it, dude. Just do something interesting with this book. Like, I'm assuming that it probably does get better. Hopefully.
I honestly don't. Here's the thing. It was like I said before, over a decade ago when I read it.
I know.
I don't recall really struggling with it. Like, I found the chapters where he went on a lot about like his business cards or album reviews. Like, they weren't the best, but I never kind of was just like, because I read it a lot on the train. Because I read a lot of books going to and from college, because I had like an hour and a half train journey there and back. And that was one of my train books, so it was like, just get on with it.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I've just realised though, so I haven't done that, but there is something I do want to review, Liam.
Okay.
Which is unusual. We don't usually do this, right?
Is it like a CD or something?
No, it's a podcast, but it's not a low podcast. It's a big bucks podcast.
Right. Okay. Not like ours.
Yeah, exactly. Just like us. It's the Adventure Zone podcast, which is the McElroy brothers who do My Brother and Me.
Yeah, you love them.
I love them. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But 3 years ago they started a D&D podcast, and a few weeks ago they released their final episode of that story. Like, they're continuing it on and doing more. Like, they're going to start a whole new game with whole new characters in a different world. But like, just if anyone hasn't listened to it,
I haven't.
Honestly, I think you would genuinely enjoy it.
Yeah, but the thing is, if I'm going to spend my time listening to podcasts, I'd rather listen to someone that I can network with who,
Yeah, but my life isn't about doing work, Liam. I do enough work that I genuinely...
so do I, but I then put even more time into doing podcast work.
The Adventure Zone is my escapism.
Well, that's all well and good, but I'm all about getting this successful.
Okay, anyway, so the story they started as like, the first game was them doing a sort of a canned adventure.
Yeah.
And one of the brother that DMs, Griffin, was saying, at some point I'm probably going to go off script and, try and make it a bit interesting, but I just wanted to have something that's guided for this first bit.
Yeah.
Since then, it evolved into one of the most amazing stories I've ever read, or heard, I guess, not read.
Yeah.
But like, genuinely to the point where the last arc, which is probably about 8 episodes, like, I'm pretty positive in every single one, there was a moment where I was like, oh God, I could cry here because it's so emotional. And the final episode is just like, afterwards they do a Q&A episode where they, get up, they ask each other questions about what was certain bits.
Yeah. And
they brought up the fact that when they were recording the final episode, every single brother had to pause at a certain point in the recording because they were genuinely like crying.
Right.
Because it was, which, sounds ridiculous, but then you think it's 3 years where they've been building these characters that they've been like actually playing, like getting into the mind of that character. So this like having a final closure where that character either gets everything they wanted or not what they wanted, and having that moment of closure just was like emotionally draining on them. And I was like, that makes sense to me, and is also how I would love our D&D to go. I don't think it ever will.
No, I still think it's a missed opportunity that it's not being recorded.
We're going to try and sort it out eventually and get something done. But I think for now, while we're still getting our feet, because I'm not super comfortable as the DM yet, I think we're all still
I think you're doing a fine job as DM.
I am, but there are bits where I catch myself and I'm like, I'm not explaining that well enough.
Hang on.
Do you know what I mean?
Let's not get too big-headed.
No, I'm saying I think I can DM. like I can come up with stuff when I need to, but occasionally I'll say something and I'm like, that's not been thought through well enough, or I haven't described this well enough. Do you know what I mean?
Give me an example.
So like in our last game where you guys visited the church,
the temple,
and I was trying to describe the outside, and then someone had to like double check something about it, and I was like, I was trying to get that across, but I hadn't done it properly.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? That sort of thing.
Yeah,
I think I'm alright at coming up with characters quite quickly on the spot, because a couple of characters in the last session didn't exist until you happened to meet them, and I was like, oh, okay, this character is now a character.
Yeah.
So I think I'm getting better at that, but that's what I mean. I feel like once we've got all that down and everyone's comfortable playing it, I think that's when we should start recording.
Okay, so this is like a warm-up almost.
Yeah, it's like us finding our feet in the D&D world.
Yeah. Have you got like...
I mean, I know you've already done a lot, but...
Have you got like a definitive like end goal for us to reach, where we could then just kind of put a lid on it and be like, that was the starter session, we're now kind of...
What, with new characters?
Not necessarily new characters, but just have you got like an end goal for us to reach, so you can just kind of cap that like campaign off and be like, well, you could carry on with the characters. But...
I don't think it would cap the campaign. I haven't got an end for the campaign particularly.
Okay.
Or well, I could.
Or not even like for this storyline, you know? Do you know what I mean?
So there is. I know vaguely where this is leading, and like, I mean, you guys haven't even like really touched on where it's going, if you know what I mean. Like, it sort of came to me and I was like, oh, okay, that is what's happening and that's where it's going. You know, I don't know how you guys fit into it, so it's not even like a story that you guys are on. It's like, this is what's happening. At some point you're going to be tied into that story somewhere, and you'll make your own way through it or change it and all that stuff.
Okay.
So I guess there's the end of that, but I feel like that could be quite a way away. I don't super know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess we'll see. I imagine that I can probably find a place where, you know, at least an arc of the story would end, and then maybe that's the jumping on point for...
That's what I'm thinking, yeah. And then we can maybe make a judgment call there if each of us wants to carry on with our characters or try something new or whatever.
No, I think you should be stuck with these characters. I think... I know, I get changing characters. My issue with that becomes if someone constantly does it, then you're losing an element of the story, because the party is meant to grow as a party, and maybe that isn't working with your characters and you do want to change, and that's fine. But I feel like, you know, if every arc everyone's changing and we're getting new characters,
I think it should be a player decision, so players can choose whether to keep or not. No,
definitely. I'm not gonna force you to stay as a character. But do you know what I mean? Like, at some point it becomes an issue when someone is always a new character. Do you know what I mean?
No, I get that. But I think there's probably, depending on how long the campaigns last, there's probably a way of doing it where it doesn't feel like it's someone constantly changing character.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying you couldn't do it. I think the thing is, it's a player and DM decision. Like, if someone's like, I don't want to be this character, obviously I'm going to let them change, and I wouldn't force someone to play it. But you know,
that's the other thing is, I think it makes sense to have these points where you can have that discussion, as opposed to, I guess what you don't want is to plan a load of stuff with all the characters, and then like midway through that, someone's like, "Oh, I kind of fancy changing my character now." It would make more sense to have like points where that discussion could happen.
I mean, I know we for the last 3 episodes now we've talked about D&D, and I promise listeners we will eventually stop talking about it. But it's quite, you know, it's a new thing that we're doing, so I guess it's, you know, fresh on our minds, sort of thing. But like, the way I envision it is almost like, this isn't necessarily how ours is going, but the way I sort of try and picture D&D itself is there are the story arcs that are the world.
Yeah.
So what you guys are doing at the moment is a world story arc, as in that's something that all 3 of you are sort of tied to at the moment. You're doing something and you're working together to do this thing in the world.
Yeah.
And then there are character story arcs, which I've got a few that I know are going to happen at some point. I don't know when.
Yeah.
So those ones, if someone changes character, I just drop them and I go, cool, that character story arcs aren't going to happen. That's fine.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? Like, there are things. So again, someone dropping a character doesn't mess me up, because there are the world story arcs that wouldn't change anyway, because this thing is happening in the world. Now your new character has to deal with it.
Cool. What would you give Adventure Zone out of 5?
Honestly, 5 out of 5.
Fair enough.
It's my favourite podcast that I've ever listened to.
Have you done anything else that you want to talk about?
No, I think that's me done for not catching up with, for cinema thing.
Yeah, stuff. Housekeeping. We had a tweet from Kat.
Oh, yeah?
That said, so she quote tweeted when we posted the new episode, and she said, "I'm 5 minutes in, and this is the funniest episode yet. if you love Zephron and people talking about Zephron, please listen to this.
I guess cool, thanks, Kat, but also fuck you for the funniest episode being one that's like me and Liam are effectively half of that episode.
Yeah, no, I see where you're coming from. I thought it was a good episode.
No, it was a great episode. I'm just a little bit hurt.
Yeah, no, I just like that we got to talk about Zephron so much.
And I just liked chatting to Joe and Joey.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice being, like, kind of outnumbering someone.
I don't care.
No, I know, but sometimes you don't let me talk about Zac Efron as much as I would like to. And I felt like in the last episode you didn't really have much of a say in it.
I mean, I wasn't trying to stop you.
No, I mean in other episodes.
Oh, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. In other episodes, you can't just... This isn't a Zac Efron podcast, Liam. You can't just talk about him. And you would if you could.
Yeah.
But yeah, so last episode was like a little steam vent for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Out your Zeph love.
It was like a little treat.
Yeah.
Like, I'd been a good boy. I got a treat.
Here's Liam's reward. He gets an episode about Zephron.
We had a review left on iTunes.
Oh, yeah? By who? By Joe and Joey or Lee? One of the three?
By Lee. It's Lee NMB. So I'm assuming it's the Lee that guested on our show.
What did Lee say?
These two constantly crack me up. How I found them, I have no idea, but they're always at the top of my recommended list. Recommended for morning drives and chilling out playing games.
Ah, cheers, Lee.
So thank you very much. Let me just double check. And that was 5 stars.
Good.
So,
and we read it out like we've always promised.
Yeah. I remembered to check. And
yeah, look at you, Liam.
Yeah. That was it.
You're like a bloody professional, mate.
Yeah, I know. Unless you've been reading more Berserk or whatever, that might be it for housekeeping.
I haven't read any more of that because I've been reading this week's Culture Swap.
Yeah. And I haven't watched any more Attack on Titan yet because I was just ploughing through Friends from College. It was only 8 episodes, but I felt it.
One of those ones that was a real chore to do.
Yeah, and now I've started what we're doing maybe for the next episode.
Yeah.
God, Culture Swap.
Swap my culture.
Here we go. Blankets, Craig Thompson, autobiographical. Warning, trigger warning. Sensitive listeners might like to know that we will be discussing sensitive topics such as religion and sexual abuse. So if you don't want to hear us probably talking quite insensitively about such things, or you just don't want blankets spoiled, maybe stop listening.
Yeah, I mean, that's not, the primary focus, I think, of this culture swap, but those topics will come up.
Yeah. I just don't want to, trigger anyone.
Oh, no, it was a good decision, Liam.
Thank you. So, yeah, Craig Thompson. He had a life, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, so let's preface this with the fact that I went into this thinking I was going to hate this graphic novel.
I'm a bit annoyed that you haven't hated it, in all honesty.
That's fine. Yeah, because, I mean, I'm not particularly a fan of autobiographical stuff.
And I think,
or at least I didn't think I was.
Don't forget, Amanda recommended this specifically, so she recommended 2 things, didn't she?
Yeah.
And the first one was that Black Hole, which she thought would be more up your street.
Yep.
And then she recommended this, which she thought would be more up my street. And I'm a bit annoyed that...
they were both up my street?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy about that, because it was a pleasant surprise.
For you, yeah. But I'm just saying, I found it a little bit annoying.
Because you wanted me to hate it.
Yeah, I thought it'd be hilarious if you hated it.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine, Liam. I didn't know. So, do you want to tell the listeners what this was about?
It was about Craig Thompson's life.
Yeah, but I mean, sort of maybe a little bit more detailed than that.
I mean, the thing is, it spans quite a large chunk of his life. How detailed do you want me to get?
So I think the main focus of it is the high school age Craig Thompson.
Yeah, with kind of little dips into his childhood.
Yeah, like the first few chapters, at least, are setting up his childhood.
Yeah.
Then you get the sort of shift to high school.
Yeah.
And then with flashbacks to his childhood again.
Yes. It's an interesting one, Jack, because I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And the coming of age aspects and the romantic stuff, all of that I really, really enjoyed. But I don't have a lot to actually say about it, and I don't know. That's not because it wasn't good or anything. It's just I guess when I was reading it, because it feels so personal and stuff, I wasn't like, I was just enjoying it. I wasn't kind of really stopping and dwelling on any of it.
Yeah, okay, well, that makes sense. But also, like, so surely that is something to talk about then, is the, like, what was it about it that you were enjoying that made you feel that way?
I liked the art, and I liked how he depicted that, like, awkward first relationship.
Yeah, I mean, the art in this is fucking incredible. Like, when I first opened it, I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm particularly going to like this, but it's amazing, his artwork.
What made you think you might not like it?
I don't know, there's something about, like, I like that sort of style, because it's a sort of, I don't know how to describe it, like, it's almost a simple style, but not really. Like, there's a lot of detail hidden in it.
Minimalistic.
Yeah, minimalistic. That's a good way of saying it, Liam. And I love that for, like, you know, webcomics and stuff. Yeah. I think that's always good for. And I was a bit like, oh, this is a hugely long graphic novel. So this is a 500 and something page graphic novel.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, a daunting amount to be like, I'm going to be reading this.
Like, so when I have the physical book, and it's a big old chunky doorstop.
Yeah. So I was like, I don't know. When I first saw it, I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy reading it if it's all like this. But it turns out that, like, for me, the way that the art style worked, the way he, like, flips between reality and his, like, daydreams.
Yeah.
Like, this art style lends itself so well to that.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, some of my favourite pages in this are when it's, like, him in the real world, and then there's a panel of, like, a few things sort of changing and becoming a bit more, like, whimsical, and then, like, a full-page spread of just this amazingly drawn, like, Raina spread out on the bed, and, like, just all these patterns swirling around her. And it's, like, a really cool way of him showing the real drawing and then what he was feeling, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I've seen someone do that in a graphic novel particularly.
Yeah,
I thought it was really well done, capturing the feeling of it.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting his art style. It is a very it's a really good way of kind of expressing himself, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
So I didn't have a particularly religious upbringing, but I know that you did. So
I didn't. This is not. I wish you'd stop saying that, because I didn't. I think your idea of a religious upbringing is at least marred by the fact that you consume a lot of American media.
Yeah, so no, so I imagine you had like a cubby hole that you had to go to when you were naughty.
No, I didn't.
No?
Nope. I went to church. I went to church once a week, Liam.
See, that's too much.
I went once a week, and we had Sunday school, so that's where the kids just basically hung out, and you got a sort of lesson about Jesus or whatever. And then you went into church for about half an hour, and then afterwards you hung out with all your mates, went down to the local corner shop, bought a bunch of sweets and drinks, and
like, what ages did you do this between?
I mean, I was probably going there since, you know, I think, so my whole life up till the age of 15, maybe, I stopped.
So that's a lot of religion, I'd say. Like, that's a whole extra day of religion.
It is. But when you say someone's had a religious upbringing, right?
Yeah.
That immediately brings to mind the sort of American evangelical style of that, which is a lot like, so the religious group that I was part of, like the Protestant Christians.
Yeah.
It's not like that at all. Like, it's not.
Did you have to pray before, like, eating, like dinner?
No, my family, in my parents' house, we didn't do grace particularly. When I go and see my nan and granddad, they say grace before meals.
Okay.
That's only for dinner, really, like the big meal.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Do you have how many crucifixes are in your house?
None that I'm aware of.
Okay, but like growing up,
I don't think we had any.
Okay. Did you have your own Bible?
I probably owned Bibles. I think there's probably maybe one that I ever opened.
Okay.
Because you get like when you do. So there's you don't know a whole lot about Christianity, I'm assuming.
No, not at all.
You get given a bunch of shit when you get baptized.
Yeah.
Like, and that's when you're a baby. But
I've been baptized.
Well, look at you. You've probably got some Bibles at your house then.
No, I don't.
I mean, you probably do. Not in your house. Your mum probably has some somewhere.
No, she's not religious.
Why did you get baptized?
I honestly don't know.
Weird.
Yeah, I don't know if it was just like, because she was quite young, if it was just like she thought she had to do sort of thing.
Oh, got you. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't like, I'm doing it because this is something that I deeply believe in.
Yeah, got you. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like at baptism, you know, people give presents and stuff, and those presents tend to be sort of religious-y.
Yeah.
So, you know, I probably got a kid's Bible then or something.
Yeah.
That's probably sitting on a shelf somewhere. And then there's a thing called confirmation, which is effectively like, I think it's about 13. You get these sort of special lessons in Sunday school where they teach you what you need to know about Christianity. And then you basically go and they say, do you believe in God? And do you accept Jesus Christ and all that stuff? And you go, yep. And they go, you're confirmed. Good job.
Okay.
So I think I probably got a Bible when I did that.
Yeah.
But I mean, even then, like, I've never been religious.
No, same.
Like, I went to church and I went to Sunday school, but I don't think I ever particularly sat there and was like, oh, I 100% believe this. I've never gone like, oh yeah, Jesus is super cool and I accept him.
So how did you feel about the portrayal of religion in this book?
Well, that's what I mean. So it's hard for me to relate to his religious upbringing because he's very clearly from an evangelical family.
Yeah.
And that sort of, the idea of that, like...
But do you think, right, because obviously with a better understanding of religion than what I have, do you think it's almost like an unfair, like, it's been quite negatively portrayed? Or do you think it's maybe accurate? Like...
Well, no, from what I can tell, from what I've seen in the world, that seems some of it seems accurate to the evangelical lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
Like the whole preaching about hell and the way that works and then being like, oh, and heaven's this amazing place and everything's going to be beautiful there, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like from what I can tell, that seems pretty accurate.
Yeah.
But again, for me, it was like, I didn't have... Protestants don't particularly do the whole, like, you're going to burn in hell if you ever sin.
Okay.
Because that's so there's... Like, Christianity is a widespread religion, Liam, with lots of different beliefs.
Yeah, like, you've got the ones that think it's only 6,000 years, isn't it?
Yeah, which is what they say in this book.
Yeah.
Says.
Yeah.
So that's the evangelicals, who are the, like, hardcore religious people.
Yeah.
Or tend to be, you know.
Yeah, you get different, like, tiers almost.
Yeah, kind of. And Protestants, I think, would be a fairly low tier.
So, like, the Westboro Baptist Church, is that, like, a Christian thing?
Yeah. They're Christian, but they're like an extremist.
Super hardcore, like ridiculous, like
the word of the
awful.
Bible is law.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they were like, but okay, so for like bits that I could sort of, with the way I was brought up and this graphic novel, like the bit that did resonate with me. So the upbringing didn't really because it was different.
Yeah.
But the bit where he is specifically questioning, like I know that by the end he hasn't, you know, by the end of the book he's like, oh, I'm not a Christian.
Yeah.
But there's a moment in it where he has this like realization where he's like, well, what they're telling me doesn't sound right. Almost like he's like, he learns that the Bible, I can't remember what it is.
He starts seeing like contradictions.
Yeah, he's like, oh, this panel's really, like this section's really dark. And then someone else has written another bit after that makes it sort of lighter.
Yeah, like a different interpretation because the language is so old.
Yeah, and then he's like, well, there's evidence that this was written after the person that they're saying wrote it all.
Yeah.
So how does that make sense? And then his pastor's like, whoa, it's all the word of God. It just evolves over time. And then he has this moment of like, oh, well, if that can happen, why am I listening to this book sort of thing?
Yeah.
And that resonated with me because there were like, again, I was never super Christian, but there was like a specific time where me and a friend sat down and read Revelations, which is the last book in the Bible, Liam.
Yeah, that sounds like a fun time to spend with your friends.
That is the one. So we went on the BB summer camp when we were kids.
Yeah.
And we sat down and read it but not in like we're going to read this, we're good religious boys. We did it in like I want to read the cool book because Revelation is the book where the world ends. And it's the one with like fucking Satan turns up and a beast appears and like fucks up the world.
Yeah, no, I think everyone knew when you said Revelations that everyone was thinking, yeah, that's the cool book.
I mean, seriously, if any Christian out there will tell you Revelations is the only exciting book in the Bible.
Okay.
Like, in all seriousness, having the devil rock up and take over the world, and then, admittedly, you know, the 4 horsemen rock up at one point.
Yeah.
On their mad, badass horses. It's the only good thing in the Bible. And then it's good because it's a story. And, like, you know, when you sit down and read that, you're like, oh, okay, this doesn't make sense. I'm not going to follow this book because this is insane.
Yeah.
So it was like, you know, I had that sort of moment as well. And there was a period of time where I did the same thing as him, where I was like, oh, well, I'm not Christian in that I don't believe the word of the Bible, but maybe Jesus and God are real.
Yeah.
And then now I've evolved into agnostic, which is I don't know. There's not enough fucking evidence for anything, so I'm just not going to You know, if it turns out there is a God at the end of it,
yeah,
sure, go for it. But I don't think there is one.
Well, like I not too long ago, I was watching. I think it was maybe Ricky Gervais. I can't remember who he was talking to. But he was making an interesting point where he's saying like everyone's agnostic because no one actually knows. Like you can believe and you can make the conscious choice to believe, but no one actually knows like with certainty.
Yeah, but then also, I mean, that's not quite what agnostic means, though, is it? Because a Christian is someone that believes in Christianity, and even though they haven't got the evidence for it, they still believe it.
Yeah, but an agnostic is basically someone that's going like, I don't know. Whereas then you take it like a step further and you're like, I choose not to believe by going atheist.
Yeah, and I think certain atheists have given atheism a bad name.
Yeah.
Because there's the kind of people that, you know, like to me, if you're practicing religion and it doesn't hurt anyone else and that's just what you believe, fucking go for it. Because why does it matter to me if you believe in God? I don't care. So long as you're not actively trying to preach hate or anything, which some people do.
I'm kind of jealous of people that believe in religion.
I think you've said that before, and I think you might have said it on the podcast.
Yeah, it's possible.
But yeah, is it because I think you said you like that you don't like the idea of there being nothing when you die?
Yeah, and also I feel like those big questions like where do we come from and all that sort of stuff. I imagine it must be comforting to have an answer. Where do we come from? Why are we here? Those sort of big questions that don't really have answers, or like there's theories around it. It must be, I imagine, quite nice to be like, well, I'm satisfied with that as an answer, you know?
Yeah, but it's so much more exciting to think that about the scientific way of it.
Oh, it is, but it's also incredibly terrifying.
Oh, it's not though. It's not.
It is.
You came from nothing and you go back to nothing, and that's fine.
That's just depressing.
It's not depressing.
What's the point?
It's beautiful.
Because
you're part of this amazing site.
I won't remember it. Doesn't matter.
But it's not about remembering it.
But no one will remember any of it, so none of it matters.
Yeah, but that's not right. That's not the way. That's
ridiculous.
Not the scientific way. So you're not doing it the right way. That's what I mean. That's the thing. You take it too far.
What do you mean?
The other way. Science, right? Liam. Now, if you go to it and talk to a scientist who's like trying to figure out where stars came from, right?
Yeah.
What you often don't find them doing is sitting there, staring at a piece of blank paper, going, none of it matters anyway, so I'm not going to do this. So you take it too far the other way, which is you just go, it's not worth it, I don't know why they're trying. Yeah. Whereas scientists, the whole point is you're trying to solve these mysteries and these amazing questions.
But ultimately, it's not going to stop the sun from inevitably exploding or whatever.
No, it might not, or it might. You don't know how far science will eventually get.
Well, I won't be around to find out, so what's the point?
Yeah, but that's a stupid way of looking at it, and you know it is, and you also don't think that way, and I know you don't, and there's evidence for that. And do you want to know what that evidence is, Liam?
Yeah.
You're still fucking here. So...
Yeah, but that could just be cowardice.
If you genuinely believed that there was no point in all of it, you wouldn't be around.
But that could just be, like, cowardice.
No, I don't think it is. I think that I think you over-exaggerate your opinion on the matter.
Potentially.
Yes.
No, it's not even over-exaggerating. I'm saying that is the aspect of it that is scary. Like, if you go down that rabbit hole of thought process, where that ends up taking you is scary.
But, I don't know. It doesn't, though.
It does, it's terrifying.
I think about that, and that's fascinating to me.
Yeah, but you don't have a brain as... Well, I'm not... It is as weird as mine.
Yeah, no, it is.
Just
I think they're weird in different ways. Yeah. I don't know, I think it's fascinating. I love it. But anyway, we should go back to this graphic novel.
I liked the Buddha. I remember really liking him when I learned about religious stuff at school.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. But then, like, so the idea of what Craig says in this, where he's talking about, like, oh, yeah, but I sort of believe in Jesus, right?
Yeah.
But not necessarily the Bible. Like, I think that is also a good thing. Like, a good way of thinking. Like, that's similar to Buddha. Like,
I don't
know. I'm not going to let other people tell me what to think. It's my own personal religion. Do you know what I mean? Because I think he says that at one point, like a personal. Oh fuck! What is it? He says something about a personal Jesus or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's the way people should treat it. Like, it's not. Don't listen to what some dude who rewrote some ancient fucking tome is telling you. That's insane.
Like, so, okay, this is a genuine question, and you're probably not going to take it as one because I know you. But is it possible that the Bible was created to be like a work of entertainment that over time that has somehow morphed into like what we know as religion? Do you know what I mean? Like,
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, like
I don't think so. But the reason I don't think so is I think there's evidence from around that time. It wasn't like if someone were to look back at our time period and see Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
There's evidence that it wasn't a belief, that it was a story, right? So the thing I think has happened is back in those days, there was maybe a dude called Jesus, but after that, there was a group of people who were like, this is the religion we believe in. There was a guy that told stories. Yeah. That's what some of the Bible is. Even in the Bible, it said this is a story. Like I think they're called the Psalms, and like the story of the Good Samaritan and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like all that stuff is stories that had a message. And
I guess
that's what the Bible is someone wrote a series of stories to teach people a lesson, but not in like this is a fantasy. He was doing it in or they were doing it in here's a series of messages. It's just difficult to convince people to believe those messages without the extra element of and God told him to do it. Do you know what I mean?
But I guess because it was so long ago, right? Like to me, I imagine there was some massive catastrophic breakdown in technology or whatever, right? And the only way to communicate with people was via speaking to them and writing, and you couldn't necessarily easily traverse to different countries and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
If you were like that for decades and decades and decades, surely over time these stories would morph and warp, and you could end up with new religions springing up and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And the Bible has done that. That's why there are so many different sects of Christianity. I mean, just even at the most basic level, Christianity is the name of the religion, but the first breakdown you get in that is Catholics and Protestants.
Yeah.
So and that's huge. That's this huge divide in that one side, have the Pope. Protestants don't give a shit about the Pope. He's not important to them because he's not part of their religion. So that's a divide at the top level of Christianity, and then Muslims have that as well.
Wait, because I don't really know a lot about this divide. Okay, so do they both read from the same Bible essentially? Yeah.
Effectively, yes.
But they just have different takes on it.
Yeah, and it's totally different. From what I understand, and I'm not a Catholic, so if I get any of this wrong and any Catholics listening,
a lot of Catholic guilt.
There's a big theme of guilt in it. There's also a lot more focus on the Virgin Mary, so Jesus' mum, which Protestants, she's important, but she's not a focus of worship or anything.
Yeah.
So it's this huge... That is different. Catholics tend to have a lot more ostentation or decoration in their churches, their cathedrals and stuff.
And Catholics have the forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. That whole thing.
Yeah. Yes.
Confession.
Exactly. I mean, there are prayers in Protestant Christianity that are like that.
No, but I mean they have those confession things that they go to.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. Protestants don't have confession that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I mean. So even at a basic level, this whole thing is split on what they believe.
And I
that,
think Catholics are more involved in exorcisms and stuff.
Well, yes. I think they don't really do exorcisms that much anymore. I think they still have exorcists, but it's a very minor part, and they try and keep it a little bit under wraps.
Well, you would, right?
Yeah, because it's insane.
Yeah. Okay. How did the title Blankets make you feel?
Initially, I was confused as to what it meant, but after reading it, I'm like, oh man, that means so much on so many different levels.
What levels does it mean?
So you got the quilt that Raina knits for him.
Yeah.
So that's a blanket.
That's a big one. There's
the blanket that him and his brother share on their bed.
Yeah.
Which is also a fairly important one because it's got a lot of, when it's hot, they argue about who's using... Or no, when it's cold, they argue about who's using too much and all that stuff. And they use the blankets to make their make-believe. Then there's blankets of snow, Liam.
Yeah.
Which have happened a few times in the graphic novel. And then there's probably some other ones. Okay. Did you notice any more?
No, I didn't. To be honest, I'm quite impressed with the snow one.
I literally thought of it as you said the word name blankets. I went, oh yeah, the snow, blankets of snow.
Yeah, that was quite good, Jack.
Thank you.
Probably I don't know, was there not a dinner table with a blanket on it at some point?
I don't think you put a blanket on a dinner table. You put a tablecloth on a table, Liam.
Whatever.
You're so fancy, mate.
Picnics? Are there any picnics? It sounded like I didn't read this, but I did.
It's starting to. I'm starting to be a little bit suspicious.
Yeah.
I don't know. So okay, wait, let me ask you something, right? I know you weren't religious and you don't have brothers or sisters, right?
Yeah.
But how did you connect with his story? Did it still resonate with you in ways, or?
In ways, the ostracization part of it, to a degree, I was never quite as picked on as he was, but I could relate to being in the Outcasts.
Yeah, got you.
And that, like, yeah, when I really started kicking into it was that first love, like the long distance thing. I can relate to that bit.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I hadn't even thought of that for you.
Yeah, then like actually going and spending like, say, a set amount of time with someone, knowing that you have that end. Like having to go back to your life afterwards.
Yeah,
I thought that whole element was really well captured, and also like her view on it, where she was like, I don't want to become too attached because you're just going to end up leaving.
Yeah, yeah.
That I've been through. Also, that like when he's just sleeping with her and she's got her tits out.
Oh yeah, did that resonate with you?
Yeah. I couldn't pay to get Kat to put a top on sometimes.
Jesus.
What?
Whatever, Liam. Yeah. So that yeah. So there were bits you connected with in a.
Yeah, like I've never had like anyone wee on me.
No, I think that's unusual.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Not having a brother, I kind of did. The way it was portrayed in this did to me make it seem like, oh, that was just a thing that maybe brothers do.
No, yeah, and the way because you sent me an interview with him that someone had done, and he is very much like, oh no, that was just us messing around. Like it's not got a deeper meaning to him or anything.
Yeah,
and he doesn't think it's that weird. And I was like, oh no, I think that's definitely weird.
Yeah. Also, okay. I want you to watch or read Perks of Being a Wallflower. So I don't want to go to spoilers or whatever, but reading this, there are definitely elements that reminded me of that book and film.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that ostracization, that finding your group of misfits, and there's some other stuff as well.
Okay, I'll give it a watch.
Yeah, if you could do that soon, while this is still fresh in your mind,
I'll try.
I think you could be smart and make the connections yourself.
Okay, well, we'll see.
Yeah. But yeah, and I found the relationship between him and his brother Phil quite interesting.
Yeah, I mean it's done in a really interesting way. Like you see, like so. I think this sort of ties into like the only other point I've really got about this.
Okay.
Which is about how it's interesting reading something like this that's autobiographical, because instead of falling into any of the like tropes that we all know from like, you know, reading fiction and watching fictitious shows.
Yeah.
When you're seeing something that's telling a real life story, it doesn't automatically do that. So like there was a moment where I was like, oh, is he going to end up with Raina at the end of this?
Oh yeah,
and
but no.
And then when he doesn't, you're like, oh yeah, because this is real life, and that's not how real life works. Like you don't, you know, this girl that he met for 2 weeks, you know, she's important to him, but obviously it's not going to end with him being like, and then we got married. We resolved all the problems and married each other. Yeah. So I think his relationship with his brother, because that feels so real, where it's like they're sort of close as kids, but he's kind of a dick, but also genuinely trying to look out for his brother and sort of blames himself for not being able to sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, and then you can see that sort of splits them off from each other a little bit. Like the whole middle of the book, Phil, his brother, isn't mentioned.
Well, no, but that is also when he's like away for 2 weeks.
No, but I mean, like, so even you're seeing him in like around that time, you're seeing him in high school, and then later on he explains that he's like, yeah, and when he's talking to Raina and he's like, she asks about his brother or whatever, and he's like, oh, I don't talk to him, like we live in the same house but I don't see him.
Yeah.
And like, I did quite like really real to me.
Yeah, I liked how that was resolved as well though.
Yes, that's the bit that I'm glad there was. Like that's almost a story-like resolution, but it's also real, which is nice.
Yeah,
the fact that him and his brother actually sort of reconcile, and sort of it seems like his brother's probably on a similar path to him in their religion. Like maybe he's not as strict as their parents were, at least.
Yeah, although it did seem like his brother got married quite quickly, which is a very
but to a geologist who's doing science and like
that's true,
is talking to Craig about how the world is not 6,000 years old, and then some pastor guy's just like, the Bible says, and you're like, okay, well I've got a feeling Phil's probably not going to end up being like
super religious.
I'm a fundamentalist.
Yeah. We haven't talked about the sexual abuse yet, and we gave a warning for it.
Yeah. So there's early on there is a scene where Craig is talking about not being able to protect Phil.
Yeah.
And they show a scene where an older guy is it meant to be their babysitter?
Yes.
Yeah, because they mentioned, I thought that's what it was, but I couldn't 100% tell.
And I'm also not sure if how that babysitter is necessarily connected to the family, if it's like an uncle or something.
Yeah, because it didn't seem like he then got brought up later in anything.
It's the way they introduced this I found really odd, in that it didn't feel like there was a lot of attention made of this thing that clearly happened. And it just felt it almost felt like blink and you'll miss it kind of thing.
But that's so genuinely, I think that's part of the real life thing. Like
it's just
in
repressed.
A story, they would focus on that, but this guy has had that horrible thing happen to him, assumedly.
Yeah.
Him and his brother. And
do you think it's repressed?
No. So I think that there is an element to it when he's a kid and when he's a teenager of it being repressed.
Yeah.
But I feel like the fact that he's put it in the book, it means he's not repressing it, but it's his way of being like, I've dealt with this.
Okay.
Like, I've come to terms with it. It's in the book because it happened, and I'm not gonna hide it and say this didn't happen.
Yeah, but equally, it's not a big thing to sing and dance.
I've dealt with it. Phil's maybe dealt with it. We don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, I assume he probably has. But then, like, yeah, I feel like it would have been almost weird for him to focus on it because it is such a horrible, horrible thing to have happened to them.
Yeah, it's just. I think it's the way it's just thrown in so like matter of factly. It's almost like casually slipped in there is what I found quite odd, in that like it seems to come without much warning.
Yeah, but genuinely I think that is all from a place of like what
acceptance almost.
Yeah, because I feel like it's almost like you could picture. So if you imagine him sitting down telling this story, right?
Yeah.
I can imagine someone being like, I don't want to talk about this, but I think it's important for it to be there.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to throw it out there and move on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that sort of feels real to me, him being like, I wish I could have looked after Phil. Because that's the bit that's important about that scene, is him saying, I feel like I failed my brother, which clearly he didn't. Like, he's just a kid in those scenes, and this dude is some huge adult, and there's nothing he could have done.
But there's also other scenes that make that point as well.
Yeah, no, I know, but I feel like that's the bit that clearly means the most to him. Do you know what I mean? Like, because the stuff with his dad putting Phil in the cubby hole, like, that's horrible, and I was a bit like, oh god, like, because he said his parents thought they looked a bit monstrous in it, and I can sort of see that, but I can also sort of see the, like, I don't think it's necessarily child abuse. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't seem like, from the rest of it, it doesn't seem like his dad was like beating them a whole lot or anything.
No, but it does seem like
it's definitely weird and not okay.
Yeah, it's a bit cabby.
Yeah.
But there's no telekinesis in this.
Yeah, he did not get telekinesis. But so I can like that also makes that point. But so that's just sort of all of those little things, and then the big thing of him and his brother get sexually abused, and he has that moment where his brother is just like innocently like, "Oh, I want to get told the joke too."
Yeah. Oh, that was
just
really.
Assaulted.
That was just like so sad, that bit.
Yeah, and I mean that bit strikes more because I've got a younger brother and sister.
Yeah,
and like the idea, like. I don't know if I've ever said it on the podcast. This sounds like I'm about to say I was abused. I was not.
We're about to get super serious.
No. There was just like when my brother was younger, there was this time that he came home from school crying because a bunch of kids on the way home had bullied him.
Yeah.
And like, you know what I'm like. I'm not a particularly violent person. Like, the idea of fighting anyone, I would lose immediately.
Yeah.
But like, that was one of the only times where, like, I can't remember, I had a friend round. It might have been Tom or LJ maybe.
Yeah.
And Harry came in and was like, oh, yeah, these kids were picking on me and they were calling me names or whatever. And I literally just got up and was like, right, where were they? I'm going to go find them and beat the shit out of them. And my mum was like, what? No, sit down. What? And I was like, no, they, like, you can't, that's my brother. You're not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
And like, so that, to me, that whole element of your, like, there is an element of just you want to protect your brother and sister. And I know you don't necessarily have that because you don't have the brother and sister.
Nah.
But like, so the whole idea of him sort of failing to do that, I can see why that's such a big deal to him.
Yeah.
And also then I can see why that then drives the wedge into their sort of relationship where, because it's so easy for me to imagine that horrible thing happens.
And it's almost like he blames himself even though...
Like, I imagine that Phil probably doesn't blame him. Like, I can, because the way they paint Phil is just this kid who's looking up to his older brother and just like wants to hang out with him and be his friend.
Yeah. But he like exiles himself essentially.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, almost like separates himself because he's like, I failed you. And I think that made the whole, them reconciling it and becoming friends by the end, like, it made it more moving because it was like, you know, oh cool, I'm glad that Craig sort of got out of this bad place and dealt with it almost.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, no, like, I think those are all the things. Like, I genuinely loved this graphic novel. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I probably, didn't like it as much as you, but I did still really enjoy it. Like I was reading like a chapter a night, and then I basically just got into it, and I think I read like the last 4 or 5 chapters in one night.
Yeah. I mean, it is. Yeah, it just. I really. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. I think
what you're trying to say is thank you, Amanda, for making you read something that you were initially very dismissive and sniffy.
Yeah. No, Amanda, this was an amazing recommendation.
And maybe in future you will be less judgmental with things.
I'll be less judgmental with Amanda's suggestions, and I'm sorry for that, Amanda. I should have trusted you. I'm still going to judge Liam's ones.
Yeah, that's fine. Out of 5?
I want to give it like a 4.5, I think.
That's a high rating.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go with a 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah, that's cool.
Like, I enjoyed it a lot, but I don't think I quite loved it as much as you did.
Yeah, that's fair.
Next time, Jack.
Which one are we doing?
Should we do Amanda's first?
Yeah, sure.
Speaking of Amanda, who recommended blankets.
Yep.
Guess what?
She's coming on the next episode.
Yeah, we won't be speaking of her. We'll be speaking to her.
Very, very good, Liam.
She wants us to watch the Gilmore Girls. Or just Gilmore Girls, is it? I don't know. Season 1.
I've seen episodes of Gilmore Girls and love it, so I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, I've like caught the odd episode here and there on TV. Yes. I've never sat down and watched it properly.
Yeah,
I know
exactly the same.
It's like right up my street, like coming of age, mother-daughter relationships. So much relate there.
Yeah, you and your mum.
Yeah. I'm her little girl. So yeah, yep. I watched the first episode tonight, and I'm really excited to watch the next 20.
Cool.
Because normally we only do like maybe 3 or 6 episodes, but Amanda very nicely asked us to do the entire season, and she gave us...
This is our first full season for a culture swap.
Well, she asked us to do this like 3 weeks ago, and I was like, well, you've given us enough notice, so
we can't say no. Then both of us have only just started. I've not started yet. I'm starting maybe tonight.
Yeah. So that was to be expected.
Mm-hmm.
I would have started sooner, but honestly, I wanted to get through Friends from College first, and I had to force myself on Sunday to watch the last 3 episodes.
Fair enough.
So that was a fun Sunday. So yeah, that's happening next time. If you have seen Gilmore Girls, you can get involved, get in touch. You can tweet us
at
Nerd on Nerd.
What if they want to email us, Liam?
Then they should just send us an email.
What address do they email it to, though?
nerdonnerdpod@gmail.com.
What if they use Facebook and that's like their primary form of communication?
I guess they could Facebook us.
And that would be facebook.com/nerdonnerdpod, all one word?
Yeah.
What if they want to go on our YouTube? Does our YouTube... Let me ask you this, Liam. Does our YouTube exist?
Yeah.
It exists.
It exists. Look,
it's just in a crippled state.
It's under maintenance. Basically, here's the situation. Jack was meant to come next weekend to get a load of video footage filmed so we could start uploading our old episodes again without any fear of copyright. And now he's got involved in this silly car crash, and
so
his car is out of action.
Yeah.
So basically, Jack has ruined the YouTube channel.
There you go. Rate us on iTunes.
Yeah, they could leave a rating like Lee did. Why not do a 5-star rating like Lee did, and why not leave a nice comment like Lee did?
I imagine that you guys would feel the coolest if you were like, oh man, I did the same thing as Lee.
Here's the thing. Legend. This apparently really helps us out, okay? Now, we don't ask for a lot in return. Maybe this would be a nice way of giving us something back after we've provided you with 4 days worth, apparently, of entertainment.
I don't want you to feel like you're being blackmailed, listeners, because I'm scared you'll leave if we do that.
No, this isn't blackmail. We're not saying we're going to stop if you don't. We're just saying, you know what I'm like. I'll keep mentioning it until someone else does it.
Yeah, that's true. He will do that.
So, it's not hard. If Lee could figure it out.
Wow. Jesus.
Bye.
Just throw some insults. What was that?
Bye.
No, ask me if I've got any final thoughts.
Have you got any final thoughts?
Yeah, I do, Liam. It's a really good one. You're going to really like it. The last time I asked you, the total count was 1,120, Liam. You had a change of -3. Liam, what's the new number? You thought I'd forgotten.
Well, there's a difference between thinking and hoping.
Is it bad? Have you had any... I mean, this is after you've now tried to cut out some of the purchasing?
I've stopped, pretty much.
So, the number's gone down?
What was it before? Remind me?
1,120.
Yeah, it's down to 1,116.
That's change of 4. That's good.
I haven't been watching a lot of films lately either, so that is actually really good.
Yeah,
I've started watching films on Netflix and stuff, which is obviously, not helping me reduce my number.
No, but it's also not adding to it. So
yeah, exactly.
That's a positive. There you go. Look at that, buddy.
I'm making progress.
You are.
Like, not necessarily with my goals or anything, just as a person.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.